0.04 seconds off of the American record.
02.
Oh, 0.02. I got it wrong. Thank you. 0.02 off of the American record. That's basically like a half a foot.
Yeah, just a little lean.
It's a lean.
Yeah.
You're close. What are we going to see this weekend? Are we going to see that go down?
Oh, that's the plan. I mean, the plan is to just always go out there and exert and do the best. So, pretty confident I'll smash it. But whatever happens, happens. You know, it's in God's hands.
Excited to see it.
Thank you.
I think we're going to see it. We're going to see some fast marks this weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fast one. So.
All right. So, staying in the middle, we're going to go over to Noah next. Noah, you had quite the year in 2023. You added 3 world golds to your collection, and you really haven't left the spotlight since. We've seen you in a commercial with Lily Collins recently, so a nice gold cape. We see you in your walk-ins all the time. Clearly, showmanship on the track, off the track is a big part of your life. Can you talk a little bit about how that might affect your performance?
I think it's really all about just me expressing myself. You know, I have fun with it. This is what I like to do. This is where I find enjoyment, and being able to do, you know, projects like commercials, out of the box thinking. I mean, they came to me with the concept, and it was great because we got to, you know, design the outfit together. And I was like, yeah, I didn't think I'd be doing this when I was 12 years old. But it's fun and enjoying, and it's you know, something that I can tell my kids about in the future. It's like, yeah, I got to, you know, be a showman, and I also got to, you know, make clothes, and I also got to, you know, walk and, you know, create this whole new subculture to the sport that I love. And it just brings more confidence when I get to be me at every event that I go to.
So showmanship kind of fuels your performances.
I'd say it enhances, for sure.
Okay. So shifting over to a little bit of a different kind of fuel, other than you're enhancing your performance with showmanship, we're moving over to Katie Moon. So Katie, you have celiac, and I think that kind of affects your, like, how you prep for competition. It might affect how you fuel your body for these long competitions in the pole vault. Can you talk a little bit about how you adjust?
Yeah, so it was interesting. I grew up, my grandpa had it, and then my brother was diagnosed with it, and I didn't realize I was sick. So when I went in for something pretty unrelated, and they said, well, why don't we test you for this? And I'm like, do we have to? Because if I have to cut gluten out of my diet, I'm going to be really sad. And it turns out that I was celiac, and so yeah, it's been a transition, but I did have experience at least seeing what they did and what they ate, and there's still plenty that I can eat, but it's just being very diligent about looking at labels, and when I go into a buffet at a meet, asking, you know, what's gluten-free, and I hate it because I hate being a burden in that way, but it really, I didn't think that I was sick, but having changed my diet, I feel infinitely better. I've had pretty much a year being gluten-free, and I mean, last year I felt great. So yeah, it's really just coming in, bringing snacks, being prepared in that way, but I can still do, you know, rice, potatoes, corn products, so there's still plenty that I can eat, so it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Favorite competition snack then?
Ooh, snack. I really like some of the Chomps jerky and like just things that are quick and easy to eat, like mid-comp. I found these tuna and rice bowls that you don't even need a microwave, which sounds pretty gross, but it works when you're in a bind, and so it's pretty great. But yeah.
Awesome. And then last, we're going to move on to Hobbs. Hobbs, you've got quite the impressive resume, both on the road and on the track, but we hear that you're pretty impressive at rock climbing too. Can you talk a little bit about how rock climbing might transition to how you train on the track?
Yeah, I mean, I think sports are sports, so no matter what you're playing or doing, I think the mindset's pretty much the same. So I think it was good mental training when I was young, and that's what I grew up doing. Competing feels the same as competing and running. It's just a different activity, but it's more similar than I think people think.
Gives you a few more calluses than running does, I would assume.
It does, yes, but I'm slowly losing.
All right, so at this point, we're going to open it up to questions from the floor. If you have a question, please just raise your hand, and we will
I'll be nervous.
point. All right, right over here.
Ashley Tishins with FloTrack, and this is for Hobbs. Last weekend at Millrose, we saw you ran 3:48 in the mile, one of just a few Americans to ever do that. How does that give you confidence this weekend going into the 1500?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of confidence in my fitness just based on my consistency in training. The confidence it gives me is I was pretty nervous before the last two races, and I'm kind of learning to trust myself more, and that it's like I'm not going to mess it up. You know, I have confidence in my ability to execute. So having a few good ones has really helped me kind of build on my confidence.
Right.
Glenn?
This is actually for three of you, for Hobbs and Noah and Tia. You all took a non-traditional route to your level of the sport now. You skipped over college and went straight pro from high school. Would you have changed your mind if you knew that NIL was coming in and you'd been able to monetize your talent and have a college career?
I can go first. I'm actually pretty relieved it wasn't an option, just because it was already such a hard decision, and I'm just glad it wasn't more complicated. I'm really happy with the route I've chosen and the experiences I've had. I'm definitely bummed to miss out on the team aspect of cross country, but some doors closed, some doors open. I'm really happy with how everything has turned out.
I will never regret not going to college. As most people know, I have many learning disabilities, and it doesn't matter how much money you throw at me in college, the fact that I can do this for more money outside of college is always going to be better. And that will always be my answer.
Great answer.
Oh, you already got it.
I'm going to say no. I do not regret it. Originally, I was going to go to Oregon. I was actually committed to Oregon. And then my parents basically came to the opportunity to sign with Adidas. And they basically came to me and they said it was my decision. So I really just prayed about it. And then the next day, I felt like God gave me a sign. I'm not going to say what the sign was, but it was pretty broadcasted. So I just decided to go pro. But I love what I do. So I would never say I regret doing it, so, yeah.
Ashley?
This question's for Noah. Obviously, you're coming into this off of a big personal best, 6:44. I believe you clocked 6:47 to win USA's last year, I believe, as well.
No,
What do you? No?
Never won USA's in the 16.
Never mind then.
Only the 300 in 2017, first year pro.
Well, either way, you ran 6:44. What time do you think it's going to take to win this event this weekend?
Shoot, I'm ready for anything. If 6:47 is needed, I'll run that. If 6:51 is needed, I'll run that. If the world record is needed, I'll run that. Whatever is needed, that's what I'm prepared to run. And then, you know, with the win, fast time show. I mean, this is a great field. I mean, world record holder, you know, Ronnie Baker, second fastest man ever to live in the event. Like, you know, the people are here. You know, it's gonna be fast regardless.
Here.
Question for Katie. Obviously, you've done so many special things to, you know, uplift Ohio, to uplift Ashland, to uplift Division II. How exciting is it for you to see a young woman like Bryn King, you know, who's completely not only rewritten the Division II records, by the time it's all said and done, she might rewrite every college record being part of the competition?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's really cool just seeing how the sport has progressed, especially on the female side. I mean, it was only in the Olympics in the year 2000. That was the first year pole vault was in the Olympics for women. So to see it just grow so exponentially, I mean, I think I was top 5 in the country with 13 feet back in 2009, and now that is just a decent height for girls, and it's showing at every level. And so, yeah, I mean, Bryn is incredibly talented. She's obviously got great coaching in Jen Scher. So I had no doubt she was going to come along and break all those records. But yeah, it's really cool. And I think her, the Mull twins, just seeing the young talent, you know, really not just doing well, but dominating is really cool to see.
And then also, I mean, as someone that really kind of, you know, found their place in the event, you know, in their latter 20s, you to see someone like Bridget Williams,
Yeah.
you know, really enjoying what she did, you know, not only being part of the group in Budapest last year, but obviously, you know, what she's done already, like, you know, how you know, there's always going to be the youth, but like, how good is that? You have to have a veteran enjoying that success too.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the pole vault is you'll have people come out really young, just blowing it up immediately. But in my case, it took me 6 years out of college to get a contract, make a team, you know, and I just love seeing just every path that people take and have in this sport. And yeah, Bridget is somebody that is more like me in that it took her she was good. She did well in college, but it just took her some time after to really hone in on the sport. I think that's the cool thing about pole vault is it's just so technical. It can take years to really fine tune it. And you'll just have a big day seemingly out of nowhere, but everybody knows like you've been putting in the work. So yeah, it's awesome. I like I said, I just love the variety of journeys, getting to see it, and I love the sport. I love watching how everybody has done, and so yeah, she's definitely gonna be a contender this weekend for sure.
Glenn again.
This is for Tia again. You're so close to the American record. What is the one technical aspect of your race that you're going to key on to take yourself into the 7.6s?
Well, the American record is 770, and I'm sitting at 772 now. And I will say that it isn't just one thing. So the fact that I went 772 and I feel like I have so many things to work on, and me being with the coach that I am now is just refreshing to be with someone that can actually teach you and show you like what's the proper way to do things. So for me, I'm just going to focus on my start for one, and staying clean. And within hurdles, that just comes with so much. Staying clean can mean so many different things. Keeping your trail leg tight, keeping your arms tight, making sure your feet is popping off the ground the proper way. So it's just so many different things, and it's going to all come together when you're focused on the line and pushing through. So it's never just going to be one thing. I'm pretty sure it's like that for every athlete. It's never just going to be one thing. It's going to be how you put it together on the track that day. So we just got to put it together.
Ashley again.
This one's for Tia as well. Obviously, last weekend at Melrose, we saw Devin Charlton break the world record in the women's 60 hurdles there. What do you think that says right now about women's hurdles competition right now on the international level?
Well, for the past 2 years, women's hurdles has definitely been progressing into a more powerful, insight. But me being in that race when she broke the world record was just a great opportunity to be able to know what it feels like to run with someone that ran the world record. Personally, for me, that wasn't my best race. I wasn't very prepared for the race. Just the way Melrose was set up itself. We didn't have a lot of time to warm up, so I just personally wasn't prepared for the race, but no excuses. She ran the heck out of that race. I'm so proud of her. It was great. I know she was so happy for it. She definitely deserves it. Just like every single other girl on that track, anybody deserves their time to shine. So in my opinion, I feel like everyone is a world champion. Everyone on that line can win the Olympics. It's just about who does it at what time. Everyone's time's coming, so you just have to be patient for that time. So yeah.
Aaron?
For Noah, if anybody asked me who I thought was the most complete and well-rounded sprinter in American history, I would say you. Obviously, your resume indicates that. But what really excites you about the 60? Because, like you said a moment ago, first pro year, win the 300. Obviously, you won the 1 and the 2. So it's that's, I guess, outside of going after a 400, that's kind of a missing piece to your already, pretty magnificent puzzle. But what is it about the 60 that really excites you?
It's not so much the winning, and it's more like the progression. That is the most exciting part. I was talking to a younger athlete in my group. He's very new, only 4 months pro. But we were having a conversation about why you don't see people who are really good at the 60 normally translated so much to the 100. And that's because most great 60 runners are already good at starting and accelerating. So if you're working on what you're already good at, it's going to take a huge amount of progression to see it translate. But if you're working on your weakness, you know, if you're a great 60 meter runner and you're, you know, not as good at holding top end speed, you know, working on that top end speed, you'll see even more growth than you would working on your strength. And where starting and accelerating is my weakness, you know, I'm seeing leaps and bounds of progression each year in this event. And I get to see it translate to not only the 200, but also in the 100. And again, it's just so much more exciting to see it happen this early in the year, where you can only fathom how much it'll multiply as the year goes on. We don't stop training for the 60. We are still training. Like, if I was gonna be, you know, I'm still training like I'm training for the Olympics, and I'm not putting anything on pause. The only thing that I'm doing is not, you know, lifting on maybe a Thursday and a Friday. Other than that, you know, I'm out there still doing 200, 250s, 300s, all that stuff, repeats. So again, knowing that, you know, I'm going to lose weight as the season goes on, I'm going to clean up a lot of things as the season goes on, my start's going to get more refined, more fine-tuned, my reaction's going to get better, just gives me that much excitement to say, wow, this is going to be an amazing year.
Colleagues there probably love being here at almost a mile-high altitude. What does this do to you as a middle distance runner? Does it have a big effect on you personally, or have you not found that?
I mean, I've never raced at altitude, so I'll talk to you on Saturday night. I mean, I spend a majority of the year at altitude, so I would say I'm pretty comfortable with it, and we're not super high. It's not like we're at 6,000, 7,000 feet. So I think it'll change the nature of the race, and it might be a little slower, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if it'll make the race any harder. I know training at altitude, like I kind of run into it's like 2 minutes for intervals. It's kind of when I start really feeling it. Before that, like it's really the rest where I feel the altitude more. So obviously this is like a 3.5 minute event. So we'll see if the last like bit hurts a little extra or what, but I'm prepared for it. I've spent a lot of time at altitude, so I'm not scared.
I've got another one. For Katie. So, your husband is a coach, he's not a track and field coach, but has your relationship there changed anything about the way you look at competition?
No. If anything, it's just really nice having him there. Like he's not a track and field coach, he's not a pole vault coach, he's a rowing coach. But if you can coach one sport, you can at least see the basics of a sport, and rowing is a technical sport, so he is picking up pole vault pretty quickly. And so then when I go to a competition where, you know, my coach can't come, or, you know, it's over in Europe and he's English and it's easier for him to pop over, like it's, you know, it's nice to have him there to video, and I can mostly coach myself at this point, but, you know, get just bouncing ideas off of him and in between each jump. So I wouldn't say it's changed anything, it's made it more fun. It's really fun because we both have our sports, but we both appreciate what we do, and so it's just made it a lot of fun.
Thank you. Any others from the crowd? Glenn, another one?
No, we're going to go off the track with this one. Three golds in Paris. Who's your designer after that? Is it you, or do you have somebody favorite you'd go to?
Are you saying who I use now, or who I would use
Who
if
you
I
use
had
at that
anybody?
point?
You said what?
Who you would use at that point?
To be honest, Pharrell. I mean, he already has ties with Adidas, so he has that good connection, and then he's at Louis Vuitton now as the head designer. I feel like we can make something real special, you know, something really that could, you know, get people talking, but yet still be somewhat functional, you know, and now why not work with a black designer, you know?
Any others from the audience? All right. Well, thank you all very much. We appreciate your time. We're just going to get together really quickly for, oh, wait. Yeah, for a group picture. Just gonna-